Irina Karshiv found herself in a peculiar situation, transitioning from her tragic end as Yusena to a newfound existence as a character in the very book she once read. Determined to alter her fate, Irina, now aware of the impending danger from Carrion, plotted to change the course of events. As Irina struggled with the realization of her role as a villainess in the Karshiv family, she pondered the importance of avoiding possession by the supporting characters in the narrative. The memory of her impending tragic demise loomed, motivating her to take control of her destiny. In a moment of reflection, Irina reminisced about the details of the original story and the ominous connection between Carrion, the Marquis d'Effrance, and her demise. Despite the challenges, Irina embraced her unique position as the only one privy to the book's contents, fostering a glimmer of hope that she could rewrite the script and reshape the destiny of Yuria Karsha. In the quest to alter her fate, Irina, after 6 months of searching, encounters a boy with red eyes and blonde hair whom she believes to be Carrion, a key figure in the unfolding drama. Determined to change the course of events, she compels him to accompany her. Irina's nanny, witnessing this unexpected development, attempts to intervene, expressing concern. Undeterred, Irina promises the boy a different life, free from hardship. However, Carrion, skeptical and resistant, rejects her offer, accusing her of using him for some ulterior motive. As Irina attempts to explain herself, Carrion reveals a troubling revelation: the distorted perception he holds of noble intentions and their interest in boys who resemble him. Irina, taken aback by this revelation, is left questioning where Carrion could have learned such unsettling ideas. Nanny, urging Irina to leave, remains unheard as Irina, shifting her approach, acknowledges Carrion's skepticism. She discloses her intention to invest in him, citing the harsh upcoming winter that could threaten his survival. Extending her hand towards Carrion, Irina proposes the idea of support in the name of the prestigious Karshiv family. She contemplates the impending arrival of the Marquis d'Effrance, just as written in the original story. Gently touching foreheads, Irina emphasizes the significance of Carrion's red eyes as a symbol of magical talent. She makes a pact, investing in him with the expectation that he will come to her aid when she faces danger. Carrion reluctantly agrees to accompany Irina, who checks if he's prepared and has bid farewell to anyone. Carrion, having no one to say goodbye to, sparks Irina's relief. Irina, contemplating the possibility of Carrion wanting to return, playfully warns him about potential consequences. She then instructs him to follow her, leading to a doubtful Carrion observing her. At this moment, Irina's nanny intervenes, expressing confusion and concern. Despite the nanny's confusion, Irina insists that Carrion possesses unique powers and declares her intent to sponsor him. The nanny, worried about the consequences and the master's potential anger, advises seeking permission first. In response, Irina, with a villainous demeanor, asserts her Karsha lineage, stating that she can do as she pleases without seeking permission. Seated before Carrion, Irina and he exchange intense gazes. Carrion, troubled, questions Irina about her intentions, expressing concern that she might have lied about not treating him as a plaything. Irina, in her assertive manner, reminds Carrion to be cautious in his tone. His silence follows, prompting Irina to contemplate stopping her line of questioning. However, she breaks her villainous facade, revealing a sweet smile, and asks for Carrion's name with unexpected warmth. As Irina addresses Carrion with affection, both Nanny and Carrion are left astonished. Irina, realizing the complexity of her emotions, struggles to manage them. Carrion reluctantly reveals his name as Tom, and Irina, finding it common, inquires about his preference for the name. Intriguingly, Irina reflects on the significance of Carrion's name, suspecting it was given without maternal affection. When asked if he likes his name, Carrion straightforwardly replies with a disapproval. Irina, in a gesture of benevolence, decides to rename Carrion as Raynud, meaning hope in ancient times. She shortens it to Rai, envisioning him as the hope that might save her in this unfamiliar world. Reflecting on the significance of hope, Irina contemplates the role Raynud might play in her life. Carrion, now Raynud, responds with confusion when Irina questions if he likes the new name. He emphatically declares, "I'm not Tom, I'm Raynud." Irina embraces the change and enthusiastically suggests they get along. However, when Irina introduces Raynud to her father, he vehemently opposes the idea of sponsoring an unidentified child, expressing anger at the lack of information about him. Unbeknownst to Irina's father, Raynud overhears the conversation from behind. Irina's father, mindful of his daughter's feelings, suggests a compromise. He proposes that if Irina wishes to keep the child, he could be educated as a servant under Robert. However, he emphasizes the family's position and the need for caution when sponsoring a child with uncertain talents. Anticipating this reaction, Irina reflects on the potential benefits of sponsoring talented children, contributing to the family's reputation. Despite her father's reservations, she is determined to proceed, especially considering Carrion's status as a member of the prestigious Cartier family, raised under the sponsorship of the knight Sir Aaron. In an attempt to persuade her father, Urina emphasizes Carrion's magical abilities and argues against the idea of treating him as a mere servant. She highlights his potential to be admitted to the prestigious Kron's Royal Academy, urging her father to recognize his talent beyond outward appearances. In the realm of Kron's kingdom, despite being inferior to the Empire in various aspects like size, military might, and economic power, it stands out for its excellence in magic. Many students from the Empire seek to study magic in Kron's kingdom due to its superiority in this particular field. The kingdom serves as a hub for magical education, attracting learners from different empires to enhance their knowledge and skills in the mystical arts. Urina's father, expressing skepticism about Carrion's potential to enter Kron's Royal Academy, suggests ignoring the matter for the day. Urina proposes a more objective approach, suggesting they let someone else evaluate Carrion's talents, emphasizing the possibility that he might be a wizard unable to recognize his own gifts, with the condition that if even a wizard deems Carrion untalented, Urina will give up. Her father agrees. He instructs her to write a letter to Dave and assures her he will be back after dinner. Overjoyed, Urina thanks her father, who wonders if he spoke too harshly. Shortly after Urina heads out with her nanny, a maid rushes to inform her about an uncomfortable incident involving Reynard Carrion. Urina, concerned, is led by the maid and her nanny to where Reynard is. Upon their arrival, Reynard appears agitated, warning everyone not to come near or touch him. Urina, inquisitive, asks who harmed him, and the maids express uncertainty. Urina, anticipating trouble, feels frustrated. Trying to defuse the situation, Urina questions Reynard about his actions, particularly during a bath. She reassures him that no one in the mansion intends harm. However, Reynard gestures toward the maids and discloses that he felt violated. Urina, angered, glares at the maids, who visibly show fear. Urina, frustrated, denies Reynard's accusation, asserting that the maids were only assisting him in taking a bath. Reynard, distressed, insists that they tried to undress him, expressing discomfort about adults helping a child like him. Trying to clarify, Urina gestures towards the bathtub, explaining that it's for bathing. Reynard, confused, questions why they are taking his clothes off. Urina clarifies that it's to make washing easier, but Reynard, feeling uneasy, questions the necessity, considering he's not a child. Skeptical of the help he's receiving, Reynard accuses them of enjoying washing him. Urina, observing the maids, decides to dismiss them and instructs them to leave. Panicking, Reynard questions Urina's decision, asking why they have to leave and what she means by "get it out." He pleads for clarification and anxiously requests them to stay, emphasizing that they should continue standing. Urina gestures toward the bathtub, instructing Reynard to wash, and he complies, heading in that direction. Urina acknowledges his discomfort with the maids assisting him and decides to leave, giving him privacy to wash himself. Reynard, concerned about someone entering while he's in the bath, questions Urina. She hesitates but insists that she won't bother him and emphasizes the need for him to clean up due to the noticeable smell. Leaving him alone, Urina reflects on the unexpected situation, feeling shocked by Reynard's condition. She reassures him that no one will touch or disturb him, making a promise in the name of Urina Karsha. However, Reynard questions how Urina knows this information. Frustrated, Urina wonders about his reaction but then confronts him, asking why he followed her if he didn't trust her words. Reynard hesitates but eventually admits that he believes her. After instructing Reynard to take a bath, Urina leaves the area. Reynard, feeling a bit more at ease, starts bathing in the bathtub, appreciating its warmth and unique design. Suddenly, Urina returns, informing Reynard that she placed her clothes there. Startled by her unexpected appearance, Reynard exclaims in embarrassment. Urina, nonchalant, tells him to put on the clothes she provided. As Urina leaves again, Reynard, feeling self-conscious, covers his face with his hands in embarrassment. Reflecting on the situation, he wonders how Urina could enter without knocking and questions if he smells that much. He compares his perception to that of a well-groomed aristocratic lady and recalls the sense of the orphanage and the locals, realizing his different perspective on personal hygiene. Reynard reminisces about his days at the orphanage, where everyone was afraid of his eyes, particularly his unique red eyes. He abruptly stops himself from dwelling on thoughts about his father. While holding a colorful soap, Reynard is intrigued by its appearance and wonders if all nobles use such pretty soap. However, he hesitates, realizing that using it makes him smell like Urina. As he recalls Urina's caring nature, specifically when she noticed a small wound on his hand, asked the maids to bring something to treat it, Reynard is astonished. The maids hesitate, questioning whether they have to assist, but Urina takes it upon herself to help. Observing Urina's compassionate actions, Reynard is left in awe. When Urina catches him looking, he quickly averts his gaze, claiming not to have seen anything. Urina questions him, to which Reynard nervously affirms that he didn't see anything. While waiting for Reynard, Urina contemplates, thinking, clothes or wings. Suddenly, Reynard appears, having bathed and dressed in fine clothes, looking handsome. Urena, observing him, thinks that he resembles a noble master. As Urena compliments Reynard on his appearance, he responds positively, stating that he now smells good. Urena notices his elation. When Reynard mentions the soap he used, Urena is puzzled, not understanding the concept of soap. Reynard, surprised, wonders if he's the only one using soap. Urena, equally surprised, calls a maid to bring a different soap, offering to change it if Reynard doesn't like the current one. However, Reynard interrupts, insisting that he wants Urena to keep using the same soap. Confused by his reaction, Urena stops and looks at Reynard, who urges her to continue using the soap he mentioned. Perplexed, Urena agrees and Reynard seems content with the decision. Urena and Reynard share a meal at the dining table. Urena notices Reynard's less refined table manners and thinks he needs a tutor. After the meal, a joyful Reynard playfully jumps onto the sofa, expressing contentment. Urena teasingly mentions a breach of contract, referring to their arrangement. Curious, Reynard inquires about the contract, leading Urena to explain the mutual nature of their deal. She saved him, and in return, he should save her. Urena emphasizes she won't force him, but questions how she can invest in him if he doesn't want to save her. Reynard, surprised, contemplates this. Urena, observing him, thinks he might be mistaken. She asserts, a unilateral contract cannot be broken. Urena, while contemplating, expressed that even if Reynard tries to act tough, he is still a child. Reynard wondered aloud about his talent for magic, acknowledging the significance of magic and pondering how he, as an ordinary person, could become a wizard. Urena assured him that magical abilities are innate and not necessarily inherited from parents. Reynard, puzzled, questioned how she knew about his magical talent, expressing doubt about being an ordinary person. Urena, sitting next to Reynard, confidently stated that she knows he will become a wizard, citing his red eyes as a sign. Reynard, conflicted, mentioned the prevailing belief that he was cursed by the goddess. Reynard expressed concern about his red eyes and questioned what would happen if he lacked magical talent. Urena reassured him, considering his eyes a blessing, not a curse. Reynard, still unsure, contemplated the possibility of returning to the orphanage if he couldn't perform magic. Amidst their conversation, Dave unexpectedly arrived. Urena and her father joined the discussion as Dave knelt, greeting Urena. After exchanging pleasantries, Urena introduced Reynard to Dave, who, after scrutinizing Reynard for a moment, became excited about assessing his magical talent. Urena agreed, and they awaited the evaluation. Dave conducted a test on Reynard, and after a short while, Urena inquired about the results. Dave, while embracing Reynard, requested him from Urena. However, Urena firmly refused, stating that if Dave wants disciples, he should find someone else. Reflecting on her decision, Urena knew she would respond this way. Dave persisted, trying to convince Urena to reconsider, but she remained resolute. Urena then grabbed Reynard's hand and pulled him away, informing Dave that she would send Reynard to the tech searcher at Kron's Royal Academy. Dave insisted that he could teach better than the Academy's faculty, being from there himself. While Urena contemplated the offer, she ultimately declined. Dave pleaded with Urena, emphasizing his capabilities and success at the Academy. He boasted about his superior grades and the line of people wanting to be his disciples. Urena, in deep contemplation, anticipated his persistence. Although she acknowledged his skills, Urena hesitated, considering the potential impact on the original story. Knowing that Carrion attended Kron's Royal Academy in the original narrative, Urena weighed the importance of investing in Reynard's uncertain future. The Academy could be a crucial factor in protecting Reynard from Marcus Defron and shaping the destiny of the Empire. Despite Dave's persistence, Urena remained firm in her decision not to accept his offer and to send Reynard to the Academy. Dave, understanding Urena's decision, expressed his resignation. Urena then asked if Dave could teach Reynard until he goes to the Academy, hoping to take advantage of Dave's expertise. In her thoughts, Urena expressed her gratitude for Dave's help, but also revealed her concern about preventing any encounter between Reynard and Lydia Defron. She was determined to avoid any incidents that could lead to the unpredictable elements of the original story, especially the meeting between Reynard and Lydia Defron. In the midst of the discussion between Urena and Dave, Urena's father interjected, asking Dave about the possibility of Reynard being accepted into the Kron's Royal Academy. Dave assured that admission was not a problem, expressing his confidence in Reynard's exceptional abilities. According to Dave, Reynard's unconscious ability to capture mana in his body set him at a level where the Dean might personally request his admission. The absence of any specific mana color was also noted, making Reynard's talent even more intriguing. Curious about Reynard's origin, Dave asked Urena where she found him. Urena, hesitating slightly, revealed that she discovered Reynard at the orphanage in Baron J. Dave, excited by the mention of Baron J, dismissed it as a place full of bluffs and questioned Urena's judgment. Observing Dave's unexpected sarcastic personality, Urena was taken aback. Dave, still intrigued by Reynard's potential, pressed Urena for more details about his talent. Urena, unsure of how to respond, was left pondering the right words. Deep in thought, Urena, possessed by her character's persona, contemplated her age, a mere 11 years old, and the incredulity that might accompany her words. She realized others might question what she knew about such matters. However, bound by the limitations of her current situation, she couldn't resort to saying in a past life, Reynard became an excellent wizard in the future, as she read in novels that often frustrated her. After pondering her predicament, Urena decided to fabricate a story. Turning to Dave, she began weaving a tale, claiming that during her visit to an orphanage, she heard a village legend about a child blessed by the goddess. According to the legend, the child could fly with red eyes, a detail she cleverly connected to Reynard's red eyes. Reynard, standing nearby, became visibly confused by Urena's sudden narrative. Dave, utterly shocked, questioned the authenticity of the legend. Seizing the opportunity, Urena grinned inwardly, confirming that it was indeed a lie. With a mischievous smile, she continued, asking Dave to join in her invented narrative about how she discovered Reynard. In this playful act, Urena skillfully manipulated the situation, creating an amusing story to divert attention from the truth. Deep in her thoughts, Urena considered the implications of her fabricated tale about the legend of red-eyed children. She reminded herself that in the original story, the truth behind Reynard's red eyes would eventually be revealed with the introduction of Carrion. As she concocted this whimsical narrative, Urena hoped that others, taken in by the innocence of an 11-year-old girl's seemingly nonsensical story, would not probe further and simply accept the diversion. Satisfied with Dave's response to her imaginative story, Urena thought, so lucky. However, Dave, seemingly noticing something more in Urena's recent behavior, remarked on her growth, implying that it extended beyond mere physical stature. An indignant Urena rejected the idea that she was still a child. Dave, intending to fulfill his role as an instructor, mentioned writing a letter of recommendation for Reynard. Urena, surprised by this unexpected turn of events, learned that Dave's motivation wasn't solely to have Reynard as his disciple. He wanted to see Reynard showcase his talents, expressing a belief that Reynard must truly be blessed by the goddess. Urena, excited by the prospect of her plan succeeding, couldn't contain her joy. She promptly sought her father's support for Reynard, given the newfound revelation about his magical talents. Her father, seemingly indifferent, nonchalantly agreed with a simple, "All right, do what you want." Unfazed by his lack of enthusiasm, Urena maintained a smile and expressed her gratitude. In her mind, she reveled in the satisfaction of things unfolding smoothly according to her intentions. Following the success with her father's support, Urena shifted her focus to the next hurdle, convincing the Marquis's wife. Determined, she reminded Reynard of her commitment not to send him back to the orphanage, eliciting a thankful response from the boy. Observing Reynard's grateful expression, Urena couldn't help but reflect on the complexities of her role as an influential woman. Despite maintaining a firm exterior, she found herself grappling with the nuances of her actions, especially in the face of Reynard's genuine gratitude. Their interaction continued as Urena urged Reynard to return to his room. Yet Reynard's assertion, "I'm not a child anymore," struck a chord, briefly leaving Urena embarrassed. Attempting to regain control, she hushed him with a simple "be quiet" before they parted ways. The next day, accompanied by a maid, Urena prepared to visit the Marquis' residence. Nanny offered to join them, but Urena declined, expressing her intention to choose a gift for her mother and Reynard's clothes. With a sense of purpose, she boarded the carriage, ready to face the challenges that awaited. Deep in contemplation, Urena pondered the crucial meeting with Mrs. Karcia, knowing that the outcome held the key to the success of her plans. Mrs. Karcia, a presence in their household for over 6 months, radiated warmth and kindness, a stark contrast to the typical demeanor of high-ranking nobles. Urena admired her gentle and friendly nature, finding solace in her welcoming smile. Despite this, Urena couldn't shake the concern about how Mrs. Karcia, unlike her husband, might react if their children displayed any impoliteness. The acceptance of Ray was paramount, and the consequences of failure loomed over her plans. Venturing into the bustling market with her maid, Bessie, Urena couldn't help but be aware of the vibrant crowd. Bessie, caught up in the excitement, expressed her awe at the multitude of people. However, Urena, focused on her mission, emphasized the importance of visiting only designated stores, understanding that the right gift could potentially influence Mrs. Karcia's perception of Ray and secure his place in the household. As Urena and Bessie wandered through the lively market, Bessie couldn't help but comment on the refreshing change of pace from Urena's usual workload. Expressing her joy at being outdoors, she marveled at the bustling atmosphere. While perusing the market, Bessie suggested that Urena should have waited at the store due to the noise. Unperturbed, Urina reassured her that it was okay, finding happiness in the presence of people. As they strolled, Urina's thoughts swirled around the impending meeting with Mrs. Karsha. Frustration crept in as Urina wrestled with questions about the gift, the conversation strategy, and whether Ray would be accepted without difficulty. She attempted to silence her anxious thoughts, but the inner turmoil persisted. Bessie, noticing Urina's interest in a particular fabric, asked if she liked it. Urina, caught off guard, agreed while internally grappling with her indecision. Pointing out an embroidered creature on the fabric, Urina shared a lighthearted moment with Bessie, asking if it resembled Ray. Bessie, observing Urina's laughter, expressed her hope that Urina would find more joy. She acknowledged Urina's growth and the worries that came with it, recounting the times she had comforted her during difficult moments. Suddenly, a scuffle broke out between the crown prince and a troublemaker. The prince accused the troublemaker of disrespect, escalating the situation. In the midst of the confrontation, the troublemaker, in a fit of rage, brandished a knife, unintentionally directing it towards Urina. In a tense moment, the crown prince swiftly intervened, deflecting the knife away from Urina. Concerned about causing a commotion, Urina silently observed the scuffle unfold. As the altercation concluded, the prince, having successfully diffused the situation, approached Urina to ensure her well-being. Bessie, worried about Urina, suggested seeking help, but Urina assured her everything was okay. The prince, expressing regret for startling her, inquired if she was all right. Grateful for his intervention, Urina thanked him for his assistance. The prince, relieved that Urina was unharmed, expressed his happiness at her well-being. Bessie, concerned for Urina's safety, suggested abandoning their plans for the day, but Urina insisted on continuing her errands. Bessie then offered to swiftly retrieve the goods they needed, leaving Urina and the prince alone. The sudden departure surprised both Urina and the prince, leaving them in a moment of shared astonishment. The prince, breaking the silence, seemed uncertain about addressing the recent events. The prince, acknowledging Urina's lively nature, complimented her, while Urina, feeling responsible for the commotion, expressed regret. The prince, curious about her intentions during the conflict, asked if she had a specific reason for intervening. Urina explained that she wished to avoid bloodshed and prevent further chaos, considering the safety of those present. The prince observed her thoughtful demeanor and commented on her deep contemplation. Urina, taken aback, found his words somewhat familiar, stirring a sense of unease within her. Urina, demonstrating care, tends to the prince's hand, advising him to be cautious about his injuries. The prince, intrigued, questions her feelings towards such situations. Urina, emphasizing the gravity of injuries, suggests that lighthearted conversations are more enjoyable. The prince, contemplating her words, acknowledges her unique perspective and playfully labels her as the darkest girl in the world. Urina apologizes for any misunderstanding, and the prince expresses a sense of melancholy, recognizing her past kindness. Suddenly, a thug threatens Urina with a sword, but the prince swiftly intervenes, effortlessly defeating the assailant with a single stroke. Prince, realizing the potential danger and seeking to avoid attention, suggests moving to a different location. He questions Urina's knowledge of the store's location and informs her that they will part ways soon. Expressing gratitude, Urina thanks the prince for his presence and he assures her it's natural. As they prepare to part, Urina insists that the handkerchief used for his wound doesn't need to be returned. The prince acknowledges her kindness, noting its distinction from the nobility's past behaviors. He expresses a desire to meet again if the opportunity arises. Before leaving, the crown prince is surrounded by his knights, concerned about his well-being, reinforcing his royal identity. The chief of the crown prince's escort reprimands the entire group for their failure, particularly noting the state of the prince's arms. Concerned bystanders notice the injury, but the prince reassures them, stating that the treatment is complete and it's just a small wound. In a moment of reflection, the prince realizes he forgot to ask for Urina's name. Despite this, he remains optimistic, expressing a hope to meet her again someday. Reynard, observing Urina from a distance, witnesses her return to the mansion. Upon her arrival, Urina meets Reynard, expressing her happiness. She reflects on her earlier instructions to him, ensuring he doesn't block her way in the mansion, and contemplates whether the Marchioness will accept Ray. Reynard, with a sense of confusion, questions whether he should greet her. Urina ponders if she is assisting a talented individual or a cowardly one. She informs Reynard that her father has decided to officially support him, emphasizing the need for respectful behavior towards superiors, as even commoners receive support from noble families. Reynard, however, questions the relevance of such behavior to learning magic. Urina advises Reynard on the importance of behaving properly as a magician, highlighting the benefits of receiving the rank of knight after graduating from the Magic Academy. She assures him that the maids in the mansion are respectful and selected carefully by her mother, promising to address any mistreatment immediately. Reynard remains silent as Urina encourages him to smile and not let the Marchioness see him frowning. Curious, he questions Urina about why she keeps insisting on smiling. Urina clarifies that her mother is not scary. In fact, she's a very kind person. Their conversation is interrupted by a maid informing Urina that the Marchioness is waiting for her. Urina encourages Reynard to accompany her as they head to meet the Marchioness. Urina and Reynard stepped into the grandeur of Urina's mother's presence. Urina's mother, with genuine joy painted across her face, exclaimed, "Urina." The warmth of their reunion was reciprocated as Urina embraced her mother, uttering a heartfelt, "Mom." Concern immediately crept into Urina's mother's voice as she inquired about Urina's well-being. Suggesting that Urina should have stayed in her room to avoid the strain of the journey, she worried about the possibility of Urina catching a fever. Urina, with sincerity, replied, "Because I missed you." As the conversation unfolded, Urina's mother expressed her intention to visit Urina's room upon returning, only to be deterred by thoughts of potential dust harming Urina's health. Meanwhile, Urina found herself lost in contemplation, reflecting on her novel character, murmuring, "Urina is so weak." 6 months ago, the grandeur of the mansion held a somber note as Urina Karcha, the rightful owner, battled a severe illness. Rendered powerless, Urina found herself unable to engage in even most basic exercises for days on end. In these challenging times, the devoted Marchioness remained steadfast by her daughter's side, diligently tending to her needs. Urina's bed became a haven for care and concern, adorned with the watchful presence of her mother. Even in moments of wakefulness, the Marchioness couldn't find solace, haunted by an unknowing truth. Her beloved daughter had already departed. Urina's mother, the Marchioness, welcomed Reynard. Urina, having worried about Reynard's behavior, was relieved to see him comport himself better than expected. Urina's mother, wearing a warm smile, initiated the conversation. "I've heard from your father. Have you brought a child in need of support here today?" Urina responded affirmatively, introducing Reynard to her mother and prompting him to greet her. To Urina's satisfaction, Reynard displayed good manners, a stark improvement from his interactions with Dave. The Marchioness, inquiring about Reynard's comfort, expressed concern over the suddenness of his arrival. Reynard, though somewhat overwhelmed, assured her everything was fine. Observing their interaction, Urina couldn't help but think, "The atmosphere seems fine." Reynard, responding positively to the Marchioness, appeared far friendlier than she had initially anticipated. Shortly after, the Marchioness advised Reynard to rest as he would be trying on clothes with Lady Lauren the next day. Reynard agreed and left, leaving Urina and her mother in conversation. Concerned, Urina asked her mother, "Mom, is this really okay?" The Marchioness, puzzled, inquired, "What are you talking about?" Urina hesitated before expressing her concern about Ray. The Marchioness reassured Urina, asking if there was any problem with Ray. While Urina pondered Marcos Karcha's likely acceptance of Ray due to his talent, she wondered why her mother had no objections. When asked by the Marchioness, Urina responded, "It's not that, just..." The Marchioness, showing love, asked why Urina acted as if she had done something wrong and if she thought her mother would be angry. Touched by her mother's warmth, Urina reflects on the emotions it stirs within her. The Marchioness reassures her, expressing that Urina's happiness and good health are all she desires. Overjoyed, Urina hugs her mother, contemplating the guilt she feels for not being the daughter her mother lost. The loving gaze of her mother, filled with unconditional love, vividly appears in Urina's mind, deepening her sense of guilt. After meeting the Marchioness the next day, Urina takes Reynard to the tailor Lauren. Urina asks Reynard about his age, and although she knows it, she refrains from revealing it to avoid any potential negative reaction from him. Internally, she calculates his age based on the timeline, estimating that he might be around 11 or 12. Reynard responds, confirming he is 12, and Urina playfully remarks on him being a year younger. In her thoughts, Urina speculates that his physical condition might be affected by his challenging past living environment. Urina, with the teasing tone, informs Reynard that he is only 1 year younger. In response, Reynard playfully exaggerates, asserting that he grows up 2 years faster. Urina questions the logic behind a law where being 1 year older means becoming an adult 2 years earlier. Reynard, in a light-hearted manner, declares that he will quickly turn 13. Urina, now confused and slightly annoyed, reflects on her uncertainty about details from the novel, including Carrion's age compared to Lydia's. Reynard notices her unease, prompting Urina to brush it off, claiming that nothing is wrong. Urina contemplates her limited knowledge about Carrion, recalling specific details such as his distinctive features, blonde hair, and red eyes. Her memories include his upbringing with a single mother who owned a bar, his time at the orphanage, and eventual adoption by Marcus Defron during winter. She knows that Carrion was to study at Kron's Royal Academy and return for Lydia's coming-of-age ceremony. While she acknowledges her fondness for Carrion's soft-hearted nature, she is puzzled about Lydia's preference for the crown prince over him. Urina wonders about the transformation of the once arrogant boy into a compassionate man. Urina playfully remarks to Reynard about his height, expressing surprise that he's not taller despite being 2 years older. She teases him about the size of his clothes, comparing them to what someone much younger would wear. Reynard, determined to grow taller, confidently assures Urina that he'll surpass her in height. He attributes his expected height to taking after his tall father. Urina, in a teasing manner, questions if his mother is the source of this information, leading Reynard to correct her, stating that it's his father who was tall. Despite Reynard's confident response, Urina senses a hint of unease. A servant interrupts Urina, addressing her as Lady. Urina, upon seeing the servant, reflects on the promises she made to Marquis Karcia regarding Reynard. Despite her efforts to convince Marquis Karcia that Ray and the servants couldn't be friends, the servant's presence suggests otherwise. She recalls the conditions set by Marquis Karcia for Reynard, educating him on etiquette, ensuring he is well-mannered in public, and showing respect to brothers in the academy. Urina senses dissatisfaction from Robert, possibly due to Ray's nonchalant attitude towards these expectations. Despite Ray's apparent indifference, Urina is aware that Robert is still dissatisfied with Ray's behavior. Urina clears her throat and addresses Robert. Robert informs her that the master and Mr. Dave wish to see her. Urina acknowledges and turns her attention to the tailor. The tailor informs Urina that all the dimensions have been taken and now they need to choose a design and fabric. Reynard, frustrated, exclaims that it's not over yet. Urina explains to him that making clothes is not an easy task. Reynard, expressing impatience, questions what else they have to do. Urina responds, emphasizing the need to choose a style, fabric, and color that suits him, and she asks sarcastically if he's tired. Frustrated, Reynard slumps down. Urina informs him that after the clothes are finished, they still need to choose shoes, handkerchiefs, and accessories. Reynard expresses his reluctance, to which Urina responds by emphasizing the importance of maintaining a dignified posture in public. She reminds him that he's officially part of the Karcia family and should avoid anything that would bring shame to them. Frustrated, Reynard complains about the complexity of his new life and recalls the uncomfortable experience of being given 4 forks. Urina reassures him that he has much to learn in the future. Reynard, still frustrated, suggests making everything the same color. Urina advises him to choose different colors. She then informs him that she's going to see her dad and instructs him to stay put and obediently choose designs and fabrics. Reynard asks Urina if she's leaving him alone and expresses a desire for her to stay. Urina reflects on his lingering insecurity and understands his need for reassurance. However, she acknowledges that she can't indulge this habit of constant reassurance. To ease his worry, Urina mentions that Madame Morin, the tailor, is present, but Reynard remains concerned. Urina assures him that she'll be back soon and that Robert will stay with him. She instructs Robert to support Reynard during her absence. Reynard reluctantly bids her goodbye, and Urina departs for the meeting with her dad and Dave. Dave explains to Urina that there are 2 ways to gain admission to the academy: passing the entrance exam or having a recommendation letter. He notes that the latter, involving a talent test interview, has sparked controversy due to potentially admitting students with poor abilities. Urina's father expresses concern about the entrance exam covering various subjects, considering it unreasonable for students to enroll in the upcoming spring. Urina contemplates the timing, realizing that Reynard aims to enter the academy next spring, leaving only a little over half a year. Understanding the political dynamics, Urina acknowledges that Reynard must enter the academy next spring and come back after 8 years to protect her, given the inevitability of facing off with Lydia for the position of crown princess. Urina reassures her father that as long as Reynard has a recommendation letter, he will secure admission to the academy. In her thoughts, she considers the talent test interview, emphasizing the importance of passing the theory test alongside showcasing magical ability. Her father mentions that Dave offered to take Reynard as his disciple, and Urina reflects on Dave's influence among wizards, ensuring that people will recognize Ray's talent due to being personally taught by Dave. A support from the Karcia family is expected to enhance his reputation. Urina draws parallels between Dave and Ray, predicting that Ray will successfully gain admission next year. She also speculates on Carrion's likely entry into the academy through a recommendation letter from Marcus Defrin, highlighting the differences from the original storyline and the advantageous conditions that favor Ray's success in entering the academy. Dave reassures Urina, mentioning that there are many people willing to write recommendation letters for Reynard due to his exceptional abilities. Urina expresses concern for the effort this may require, and Dave clarifies that it's his duty and something he genuinely wants to do for Reynard. Urina wonders if Dave's intention was to delay Ray's admission to teach him more, but Dave emphasizes the urgency for Reynard to enter the academy, considering it late for a 12-year-old to start. Urina corrects him, noting Reynard's upcoming 13th birthday. Dave acknowledges the need to work harder to prepare Ray for the academy. Urina, feeling relieved, reflects on how everything seems to be going smoothly, appreciating Dave's efforts and expressing gratitude for the assurance Marquis has gained. However, she wonders about the events that will unfold in the future.